muted. Okay. Oh, well, I already gave my introduction, so
Sorry.
it's fine. It's fine. Thank you, Roxanne, for helping. Thank you, Roxanne, for help. Please give a big applause for Roxanne. She's my right hand. Yes, here. And I also want to welcome all the wonderful teachers and students that are here today. I see Miss Elvia Graciela Rodriguez from Early High School and her students. A big round of applause. A student from DAMU, Cristina Soto, United High School English teacher. A big round of applause. And over here, Sylvia Vargas, Alexander High School Spanish teacher. So we have 2 Spanish, 1 English teacher. Anybody else teacher that I didn't? Right here. Oh, Natalia Sanchez from Martin High School, welcome. And Miss Eliana Molina with a bilingual program. Thank you so much. And everybody else, thank you so much for being here, my good friends. Thank you for being here. And now we are going to start back to Dr. Norma Cantu, a graduate of Martin High School, whereas, oh no, Martin High School 1965. Mando is Martin High School. Award-winning poet and author, currently serves as the Noreen R. and Frank Murchison Distinguished Professor of the Humanities at Trinity University in San Antonio, where she teaches courses in Latin Studies, Latinx Studies, Folklore, and Creative Writing. Her creative writing focuses on the U.S.-Mexico border and includes her novels Canícula, Cabañuelas, as well as her poetry collection, Meditación Fronteriza. And she brings a wonderful piece today that she took from, well, I let her tell you about it. Miss Roxanne. Where is Roxanne? How do we? I'm sorry, I don't know technology that much, Norma, okay?
I'm
So
here.
what do I do?
I'm here.
She's
Can you
there,
hear me?
but we have to mute the others, right?
Well, she unmuted herself. So.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Now you're going to
Yeah,
be
I already
on,
unmuted myself.
Let me take myself off.
yeah, and you're going to be on
There
the
we
big
go.
screen here at the public library. Yay!
Everybody
Norma.
else is-
Buenas tardes.
Hola.
It's an honor to be here.
Un aplauso de tus fellow Laredoans.
¿Sí me oyen?
Sí.
Muy bien. Pues primeramente, muchas gracias and acknowledging all my ancestors and all of the spirits of this place that is Laredo, mi querido Laredo, and the public library. Y muchas gracias, the poet laureate, Rosa Maria, and all of you who work so hard there at the library to make things like this happen. I have a couple of poems, Rosy, no sé si quieras que lea los dos o solamente uno. El que te mandé, it's based, often writers, poets work with other poets, other writers, and they take that idea and develop it and create a new poem. And so that's what I did with You Bring Out the Tejana in Me.
And that's what I want you to do too, guys. She is responding to a poem and you can respond to her poem too.
Or to
Thank
other
you, Nora.
poets.
Or right, yes.
Right. And so it's inspired by Sandra Cisneros' poem, You Bring Out the Mexican in Me. So I'll read that one. And if you want me to, I can also read Song of the Borderland, which is from my poetry collection, Meditación Fronteriza, which is really about the border and about Laredo. This one is a little more generic about being Tejana. You bring out the Tejana in me, the country dancing Freddie Fender in me, the Cotton Eye Joe dancing in me, the little Joe Las Nubes in me, the bluebonnet fields in spring in me, the red, red sunsets in me, the huizache y mesquite yellow blossoms in me. You bring out the Port Aransas fishing in me, the many rivers in Texas in me, Rio Grande, Blanco, Frio, Colorado, Trinity, Guadalupe, and Nueces rivers in me, the Big Bend Panhandle and Hill Country in me, los arroyos, las mesetas in me. You bring out the HEB specials in me, the pulgas flea markets in me, the Saturday morning thrift shop shopping in me. You bring out the Tigres del Norte in me, the Johnny Canales show in me, the dance hall two-stepping dancing in me, the polka dancing to Little Joe in me. You bring out the Esteban Jordan y Flaco Jimenez accordion in me. You bring out the conjunto music in me, the Selena como la flor in me. You bring out the dreaming under a Texas sky in me. You bring out the hill country night sky in me. You bring out the Dallas State Fair in me and Big Tex in me. You bring out the Houston traffic at rush hour in me. Yes, you bring out the Tejana in me with one foot in Espanol and the other in a Texas drawl, singing rancheras and Lyle Lovett songs. You bring out the chorizo con huevo breakfast tacos in me, mariachis, the tamales at Christmas in me, the Easter picnics in me, the San Antonio fiesta in me, the Laredo Washington's birthday in me, Brownsville's charro days in me, the Petite Strawberry Festival in me, Corpus Buccaneer days in me. You bring out the Hebronville Vaquero days in me, the Free Rattlesnake Roundup in me, the Crystal City spinach in me. You bring out La Llorona and the creeks and rivers in me, the mermaid and Salado in me, the pirates in the Gulf Coast in me, the Galveston, Port Aransas, South Padre beaches in me. Yes, también the Friday night high school football in me, the Texas baseball team in me, the Spurs y los Cowboys, no se diga, the Houston Astros too, along with the Laredo Tecolotes in me. You bring out the Whataburger in me, the slow-cooked barbacoa de cachete on Sunday mornings in me, the enchiladas callejeras and Rudy's barbecue in me. You know me. I'll always be Tejana de corazón. And like the rivers of Texas flowing to the Gulf, nothing can stop, nothing can change what is to be, what is, contigo o sin ti, es mi destino. Soy Tejana. ¿Y qué?
Uy,
So you can tell that I took Sandra's idea of you bring out the Mexican in me and then transformed it into this poem. So poets often do that. They'll take a line or a poem and reflect on it and then write their own poem. So I invite all of you who are there and writing to do that, to take a poem, make it yours, change it, and honor the person that wrote the original, and then write your own.
that's, well, see, we have 3 minutes
You want me to read the other one?
if you want to, but remember, you could also, you bring out the Laredo in me. ¿Qué más podían escribir? Laredo, el México, el Nuevo Laredo en mí. Ella lo hizo de todo Texas. Ustedes lo pueden hacer más.
Exactly. O de
la
tu
frontera.
barrio, o de tu escuela. The
O de tu
Martin High
esposo.
School
The
tiger in me.
Yes, yes.
The other one, this one is from the book. It's called The Song of the Borderland. Y también you can write a song to Laredo or to your neighborhood or to your high school. My land is a borderland, piece of my heart, land where the Carrizo, Comecrudo, Coahuilteco crossed rivers, celebrated spring, suffered winter. They died, they lived, they birthed babies, cradled them warm by the pelt of young rabbits, drank clear water from the river, hunted deer and jabalí, big mesquite y tunas. They lived, they died, my land is a borderland, the land of my ancestors, Spanish, Indian, grandmothers, grandfathers, great grandparents, and great 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 grandparents. Here they buried my ombligo on one Saturday in January at dusk beneath the willow. Here lie my dead ones. They buried my first floods. My land is a borderland where my first yearnings, my first instincts, desires, my first longings for life elsewhere. My land is a borderland where all my relations lived and died, purifying early morning dew with sage smoke in the sunrise ceremony. My land is a borderland where roosters sing at dawn, the rattlesnake molts, its rattling seeping into me from first to last breath, like all who are born on this rude land, tender as the prickly pear during Lent, durante la Cuaresma. My land is a borderland where I shall remain until the hour of my death, death in the end linked to life, life that is nothing more than spring rebirth, the yellow blossom of mesquites.
Wow, thank you so much. If you read your tips that I gave you to write poetry, she used a lot of images from the border, images without using the five senses, sight, smell, touch. See your number 4 tip, and it's right there, you know? And of course, keep a poetry journal. I gave you journals so you can write, you know, and you take it home and you can write poetry in there. Okay. And thank you so much, dear Norma. Anything else you want to tell our kids and our
To everyone there, just keep writing and don't be afraid. Take risks. Go with it and share it. Once you write it, share it with others. Share your work, read it, and just keep doing it. And don't make the mistake that I did when I was your age. I thought nobody wanted to read my work. I didn't publish, I didn't send it out. I felt it was only for me. And I guess at that point it was. But I really think I think you're smarter than you think you are, and you're a better poet than you think you are. So just go for it.
I think so too. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay. If you read number 8, poetry writing is a craft. Practice it. Be adventurous. Be daring. Be you. Be adventurous. Thank you, Norma. And now we have the poet laureate from San Antonio in the period for 2018, 2020. We are so proud that he agreed to be with us. And we're also from Mexico, but I don't know where you tell us a little bit about yourself, Octavio. What I have here is that Octavio Quintanilla is the author of the poetry collection, If I Go Missing, the founder and director of the Literature and Arts Festival Verso Frontera, publisher of A La Brava Press, A La Brava, I love it, and former poet laureate of San Antonio. He teaches literature and creative writing at Our Lady of the Lake University. And a big Laredo welcome to Octavio Quintanilla.
Thank you. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I'm trying
Thank you for that introduction, for the invitation. And hi, Norma. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you here. And I think your poem brought out the hunger in me,
The hunger.
especially the chorizo con huevo.
She's on mute.
Your voice is very low. Maybe you can talk a little louder.
Oh, okay. How's that?
Better.
A lot better?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to talk a bit louder. Yeah, sorry, my voice is kind of low. I had classes today, so I've been talking all day. Well, thank you for inviting me. And I'll read, I think I have enough time to read one poem.
Yes.
And to give you just context, I was born here in Texas, and I lived in Mexico until I was 9. So this poem specifically talks about that experience of moving from one country to another, and watching that through the lens of your parents, longing for a country that they left behind, and knowing that they can't go back in many ways. And in the way specifically that I'm talking about here is because of the cartel violence. I wrote this poem like around 2010, and this is from my book, If I Go Missing. And in 2010, the town where I grew up was infested with cartel violence. So my parents still have a home in Mexico, but they couldn't go back. So the only thing they could do was kind of daydream about the day they could go back. So this poem is called "My Parents Can't Recognize the Country of Their Birth." My parents can't recognize the country of their birth. On the streets, children know the names of their enemies. Grandmothers no longer close their eyes at the sound of gunfire breaking a neighbor's window. Towns and villages are empty. In the cities, men and women bury their details of their lives in coffins. Caution is the prayer of the day. In a bad dream, at least we know beforehand who plots against us, who trails our children on their way to school. In a bad dream, we wake to know we are dreaming. But here, few are lucky and many are born with their future fixed around their neck. My parents returned to Mexico in daydream. One day, I'll go back and harvest the fields. I'm sorry. Let me reread that. One day I'll go back and wait for my grandchildren to visit me, my mother says. My father wants to go back and harvest the fields he worked as a boy. I remember those fields. They belonged to my father and to his father before him. In those fields, cows and goats grazed on sunlight under a sky so wild and so blue that it was impossible to imagine any other existence. So there's my poem.
Wow, wow.
And like I said, it has to do with the border on both sides of the Rio Grande, the border that you cross coming over here. And then once you're here, the border that you can't cross to go back. So with that said, thank you all for listening to my poem.
Say thank you, Octavio. Where can we ask where was the town where you grew up? Can you tell
Yeah,
us?
it's a town. If you're familiar with Linares, Nuevo León, it's a town just across another border of Tamaulipas. Is called Magueyes, Tamaulipas.
Magueyes, Tamaulipas. No, I don't know. It must be a very small little
It's a
village.
small town, but it's I guess the more well-known towns close by is Villagrán, Nuevo León, Hidalgo. I'm sorry,
Villagrán, Tamaulipas. That's where
Hidalgo.
my grandmother was born. Villagrán.
Then we might be related.
We might be related. Villagrán, another little small village. Wow. Yeah.
Exactly,
Well,
yeah.
Tamaulipas, Sylvia Vargas here calls it, ¿cómo le dice Silvia? Tamaulipas, no, Mataulipas. Instead of Mataulipas, for the same reason. Bueno, voy a hablar un poquito en español porque tengo también audiencia en español. Él nos trajo muchos recuerdos y nostalgias de su pueblo y cómo la vida ha cambiado y lo triste que es ahora y que no pueden regresar sus padres. Y ustedes pueden escribir de eso también en inglés, en español o en spanglish, porque es el dialecto de nuestra comunidad y está bien recibido. Lo dice, no lo digo yo, lo dijo ahorita les dice más la doctora en español, Patricia González. ¿Sí? Bueno, now we continue. Thank you so much, Octavio. Thank you. Sí, a big applause.
Let's take them off the screen. Who's going to be next?
José Flores.
Jose?
José Flores, sí.
Him, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's put him in front. Pero no me deja quitar.
No te deja quitar a Norma.
No.
Y Norma se fue, se va a ir. Okay.
If she's going to leave.
Sí, sí se va a ir. Dile, Norma, are you still here? She has another meeting. So she was saying.
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, you're still here. Okay.
Es que I
I
can
am
stick
going
around.
to another meeting.
Yes,
Uh,
I know.
okay.
Thank you. But thank you so
want
much
me-
for coming.
Did you want me to close out? I can stick around. Also, I was going to say, hi, Jose. Haven't seen you in years.
I've been here. I've been here adentro de la casa por 3 años.
Yeah, como todos.
Es como no tiene esto para quitarle.
Sí, no tiene. Ah.
No. Well, that's fine.
Roxanne, so I just go
Yes.
ahead and end it.
If you have to leave, that's fine. You already did your part.
Gracias.
No te estamos
Gracias,
corriendo,
Rosy.
amiga mía. Por favor, es que dijiste que
Y
no
gracias,
podemos.
Octavio,
No.
for that
gra-
beautiful poem.
I know. Thank you. I'm so in awe of all of you. And thank you so much, Jose. It's thanks to the Guerra brothers, Luis and Victor, that I got hold of him because I knew about him. But we're so happy. Also, Jose Flores is born in Laredo, another Martin High graduate, 1966. Ileana, un aplauso. Ay, el chacón, muy especial, ¿verdad, Cristina? My Cigarroa kids. Yeah, that's your area. Yeah. So you're home, Jose.
Okay.
You're home. But no, but I'm going to read. Professor
I am
Flores
home.
has taught at Austin Community College for 35 years. Before ACC, he taught English at Antioch University. And as a poet and songwriter, Jose Flores Peregrino has been published in numerous anthologies and magazines. His first poetry collection, Mezquitierra, Pajarito Publications, New Mexico, 1977. He also was a member of the very famous Conjunto Aztlán that represents a spiritual and musical journey expressed through poetry and song. Jose Flores is also the captain of Grupo Sinachtli, Sinachtli, a conchero group that originated in Mexico City. His wife, Sara, and their 4 children also participated. We are so proud to have a former Laredoan and very famous here with us. Thank you.
All right. Pues muchas gracias. Can you hear
Puedes
me?
hablar en español si quieres.
Está
Todos-
bien.
Sí,
Digo, lo más importante es que si me escuchan,
sí.
no está. Okay. Pues me voy a imaginar, I'm going to imagine that I'm in front of all of these fine people in the library. I'm going to read a short poem. One of the first poems that I ever wrote, uno de los primeros poemas que he escrito up to now. It's called Los Verse Pal South. Pero quisiera nada más decirles que ustedes los que están aquí, the ones who are here in the audience, you're in your chairs, maybe you're sitting down, and that is a real experience. This poetry workshop is a real experience. In other words, it's happening. The poem that you're going to write is also a real experience. The only difference between you sitting there and the poem is that the poem is going to happen over and over and over and over and over again. Maybe the experience of the workshop is not going to happen again for you, but the poem you're going to write va a existir la realidad, the feelings of that poem forever, even after you are gone. So it is very important that when you decide that that is going to be your poem, that you take it seriously, because as I said, it's going to be here. And it's going to be real over and over again every time you read it. And that's what happens with this poem, Los Birds Pal South. It is a poem about a 10-year-old migrante que se va pal norte every year, right after school, right after, cuando se acaba el semestre de la escuela, ya están listas las trocas to go up, 1950s, 1960s, 70s, to go up north to work. So this is a poem about a little 10-year-old kid who is in the truck and he's going pal norte. He's going to work in the fields in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota. What we get in this poem are the images that this child remembers about going up north. Okay. Now, it's very important then that we understand that a 10-year-old kid could not have said this. He just felt it. Are you with me? He
That's
just
everything.
felt it.
It just froze.
What froze?
Oh,
Maybe
you
because
didn't
the
notice.
phone.
You didn't notice, but you were going to Minnesota and you froze in the snow.
Oh, okay.
The
All
TV,
right.
I'm sorry. The TV froze. We're back.
Am I still on?
You're still on. Yes.
Okay, so
See
what
image.
what happens with this little kid give up? Am I frozen again?
Oh, no, no. Oh, you're okay.
De este niño que va para el norte en la troca, what happens is that this little kid at the end of the poem where it says, como enanos encantados por el tiempo, this kid thinks that that's going to be his life forever and ever and ever again. You know, in other words, this poem is frozen just like my camera was frozen a while ago. All right, but as I was saying, this kid doesn't have the language to express this poem. They're just feelings. So I had to do it for him. I, as a 33-year-old later, had to recall these images and give this young kid a voice. And that's what you can also do in your poem, right? Los birds pal south. And once again, the birds fly south as we fly north in canvas-covered trucks. It's a sleepy cargo. It's a human cargo. Phone pole counters, uno, dos, white line counters, cinco, seis. Mothers, fathers, lovers, dreamers, hypnotized by humming sounds of speed and time. Así era, y así es. Los birds pal south, y nosotros pal norte. Pa Wisconsin a la papa, en la troca encamisada, con tiliches apilados, rechinando. Los birds pal south, y nosotros pal norte. Pa la tierra congelada, de cielos emborregados y pinos almidonados con el hielo. Los birds pal south, y nosotros pal norte. Pa la tierra indiferente de costales de papa, paraditos como enanos encantados por el tiempo. Como enanos encantados por el tiempo was in the mind of this little kid, like dwarfs enchanted by time. In other words, in the mind of this child, this yendo pal norte, yendo a este lugar que está tan frío, la naturaleza para este niño está fría. It's not a friendly confrontation with nature. La gente del norte, los gringos, indiferentes. La gente indiferente, just as cold as those trees that are starched with ice. This is what he felt, and he felt that it would be over and over again. So he didn't have the voice, so as a poet, I had to give him that voice, and that is my poem. If we had a lot more time, I can tell you how it's very important that we remember the past and how we also can use it as a form of healing. Gracias.
No, hermoso. I just love that poem. It has a lot of figurative language, the repetitions, the flies, the birds pal south, they fly south against nature. And we vamos pal norte, opposite, we're going opposite. And so a lot of images and a lot of figurative language. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Can I make
thank
a
you.
quick comment?
Yes, please
This,
do.
this is Fidel. On the bird, what do you say? The birds van pal south. Many a time I remember as a youngster, we would refer to them as snowbirds. And they were la gente del norte que venía pal south.
También. Yes, that's true.
That's true. That's true.
We would refer to them
And
as
there were very
snowbirds.
few. There were very few Mexican snowbirds.
Sí. Oh, it's Fidel Santos, my friend. You're Juanita and Fidel.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
thank
Aquí
you for being
estamos.
here. Thank
Aquí
you.
estamos. Oh, you're
We
welcome.
have a lot of also with the internet. Okay.
I enjoyed
Thank
your
you.
poem, by the way.
Yes, I love that. I love all the poems.
Yes, they've all been good.
Thank you.
Who's next?
And now we have my friend Gilberto Quesada, a retired educator and an author, writer, essayist, and poet. He is the author of the award-winning political biography Border Boss, Manuel B. Bravo and Zapata County, published by Texas A&M University Press. He serves on the editorial board of Catholic Southwest, a journal of history and culture. But most of all, Quesada and I went to school together, St. Augustine. I'm a year older. Me tiene que respetar. I graduated 64. He graduated 65. Very smart, tall, playing basketball. That's how I remember Gilberto Quesada, always hitting the books. The nuns loved him. Right, Gilberto? The nuns loved you because you were such a good boy. ¿Sí o no? Sí, hombre.
Muchas gracias, Rosa
Eso me
María.
acuerdo de ti, de San Agustín.
Muchas gracias, Rosa María. Can you
De
hear
San
me?
Agustín por el río, no los ricos de ahora, San Agustín éramos los pobres, sí,
Can
los
you
del
hear me?
barrio, los del Azteca. Sí, sí, te podemos ver. Ahora se
bueno.
hicieron, digo San Agustín, ahí era muy rica, no, hombre, caminábamos.
Qué
Pero
bueno.
otras de San Agustín aquí, sí. Quesada, hermano de Ana Quesada, ¿verdad? Es tu hermana. Porque aquí tengo otras de San Agustín, de esa
Qué
época.
bueno. Rosa María, muchas gracias. Thank
De
you.
nada.
Like Rosa María, I also went to San Agustin and graduated from San Agustin, except that Rosa María was 1 year ahead of me. And I always remember her as being very smart and a very studious student. And I'd like to share with all of you my poem entitled Vivir en la Frontera, a cultural, social, and historical experience. And I hope you like it. This poem comes from the heart and from the soul. Vivir en la frontera is an unforgettable experience. Hay muchos momentos inolvidables that are embedded in our hearts and souls. Es muy bonito compartir los buenos momentos with our neighbors across the Rio Grande. We were like a family porque el río no nos dividía. I was born at home and y 5 cuadras from the Rio Grande in the 1940s in the barrio El Azteca en Laredo. En un ambiente muy mexicano. Mis padres eran de México and spoke only Spanish. Also, all the people spoke the same language y muchos hablaban Tex-Mex. También todos escuchaban Mexican music y novelas on their radios. We had family, friends, and classmates ahí en la escuela de San Agustín que vivían al otro lado en Nuevo Laredo. To cross the Rio Grande was as common como cruzar una calle en el barrio. Nunca vimos el río como una división, but more of a symbol that united us. A veces íbamos a misa en Nuevo Laredo, and there was no difference in the liturgy. Durante Christmas celebramos con las posadas, los pastores, and the dances of the matachines. Y on Holy Thursday, we went to visit 7 iglesias, a deeply religious Mexican tradition. All of these religious and cultural activities se celebraban en ambos lados of the Rio Grande. Tradiciones de nuestra herencia that are very important. In downtown Laredo, yo aprendí a bicultural history lesson with the names of the streets. Zaragoza Street, General Ignacio Zaragoza. Grant Street, General Ulysses S. Grant. Iturbide Street, Presidente Agustín de Iturbide. Hidalgo Street, Padre Miguel Hidalgo. La calle Lincoln, President Abraham Lincoln. La calle Washington, President George Washington. Farragut Street, Admiral David Farragut. Matamoros Street, Padre Mariano Matamoros. Victoria Street, President Guadalupe Victoria. And Houston Street, Senator Sam Houston. We lived on Iturbide Street y luego en Zaragoza Street por muchos años. Vivir en la frontera, the Mexican and American culture surrounded us and embraced us. Pan de dulce and sweet bread were available on both sides of the Rio Grande. To watch Mexican and American movies, teníamos el Cine Azteca, 3 blocks from the house. Y a veces we went to the Cine Alameda across the river. Para ver only English-speaking movies, we had the Plaza and the Tivoli theaters. Durante el 22 de febrero, we celebrated George Washington's birthday with a big parade and many festivities. Y la gente del otro lado came to join us in the celebration. And all these events started cuando un niño de Laredo y una niña de Nuevo Laredo se unían en el medio of the International Bridge para darse un cariñoso abrazo. A symbolic gesture of friendship entre dos países. Y la gente de Laredo celebrated Mexican independence and the 5 de Mayo with the same patriotic fervor y amistad. Aunque ya no vivo en la frontera, however, when I feel nostalgic about the Barrio La Azteca and about Nuevo Laredo, I remember lo que mi Santa Madre me decía, el recordar es vivir. Y es muy cierto, porque living on the border is a very special and unique experience que nunca se olvida. It is living an ancestral heritage of 2 cultures, 2 idiomas, and 2 histories that unite us. Muchas gracias. Ojalá que les haya gustado mucho.
Thank you. And we can tell he's a historian because he gave us a history lesson. It's a very good history lesson. Thank you very much, Gilberto. Anything else?
You're more than welcome. I just would like to say to the students and to the adults in the audience that writing poetry is a very personal thing. It is a very personal experience because the person that writes poetry feels it in that person's heart and in the soul. And it could be a happy experience. It could be a sad experience. In either case, you can express your feelings and your emotions in writing. That's why I say that writing poetry is very personal. And if it's you can write about an event that took place. You can write about something, a person close to you, maybe a teacher who was a role model for you. You can write about a pet, a dog or a cat that you love very much, and somehow the animal pet dies, and you feel how can you express your sorrow, your grief. And sometimes it's better to let your emotions out and put them in writing into a nice poem that will be there for forever. If you love your parents very much, your mother, your father, a grandmother, an aunt, and you want to express your love for them, maybe on their birthday, it's nice to write a little nice poem remembering them how you feel personally. That's why I say that writing poetry is very personal, is very emotional, and it's a very good, wonderful exercise of the soul, the heart, and the mind.
Thank you very much, Gilberto.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to our local. So we're going to mute you and we're going to ask our local, but you can please watch them because we have wonderful Laredo poets here in the audience. And then as we are listening to these poets, I hope you're getting ideas to write your own. Some of you already started writing at home or at in your classes. And so we hope you can share with us later what you have written. Okay. Now we have first Dr. from Zapata, all the way from Zapata, Texas, Dr. Alma Gonzalez Perez, a PhD in, she's here.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Perez is right here. She came all the way from Zapata. Sí, 90 millas, oye. Gracias, thank you. Bravo, Zapata. And she is she is the owner of a publishing house, and she's interested in publishing our poems for Vivir en la Frontera, Living on the Border. We don't know the title yet, but that's a plan. As poet laureate, I want to publish a book with all the best poems, I wish all the poems, but I don't know. It depends how many we have. And I've asked Mando Lopez, Cici, and my friend Patricia to be editors of this, curators, help me find which one's the best. And hopefully she's interested in publishing. So we already have a publisher. So without further, and she's a poet in her own right and a writer of stories. Thank you. A big welcome, Laredo. Welcome to our Zapata neighbor. And a beautiful, beautiful poem. That could be the title of our book too.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll brainstorm the best. What's best? Thank you so much for your invitation, Rosa Maria. Rosa Maria and I go back quite a few years. We were amigas y rivales because our students used to compete against each other. They invited us. And of course, we participated. It was a wonderful experience. And of course, I certainly echo the sentiment of Mr. Quesada, that when the heart and the mind and certainly the soul get together, that's when the best poetry emerges. When you have an experience very special experience, whether sad, especially sad, sad or very happy, as well as things that you feel very strongly about, okay? That's a good possibility for a poem. So I have not written too much on the border, but I am very interested in the topic. I've been reading some of your work that's been published in the newspapers. And of course, I've been very happy and, very proud to see the quality of your work. So I have a collection of poetry that speaks to exactly what Mr. Quesada mentioned, Cantos del alma y del corazón, because of course, all the things we write, but especially poetry. Poetry is the highest level of writing, and it's also the highest level of reading. Keep in mind, not everybody likes to read poetry, and certainly not everybody writes poetry. So those that do should, okay? Those that have that calling or that gift or that talent should, because like I say, this is a very special skill for this particular literary genre of all the literary genres. On my poetry book, I don't have on the border. I do have a section on El Hispano, mi hermano, and I have some poems that mostly deal, of course, with cultural identity and pride. That's basically what I have here. The one that I submitted, I don't want to exceed my time. The one that I submitted was or is called My Heart Embraces Two Continents. And of course, I also have it in Spanish. Mi corazón abarca dos continentes. Except that one, I have it more like an essay where I add more examples and details. And of course, the best poetry for me is in Spanish. That's where I feel it more strongly. Yes, I write poetry in English. I was an English teacher too, but it doesn't come out as tender or as emotional as Spanish. In any case, ahí les va. My heart embraces two continents. To the south lie the long and arduous trail of blood, sweat, and tears that our ancestors shed as they traversed a continent to reach to the other, or el norte, as it was to them. To the north lies the future of my children and grandchildren, as well as the generations of the future, who will carry my blood and my genes and whom I will never know. The South bestowed upon me my rich cultural heritage, which defines me who I am. Morenita, chaparrita, pero bonita. I am somewhat like Sor Juana Inés, a lover of language and books. I'm also somewhat like La Malinche, independent, assertive, and proud to be whom I am. The North bestowed upon me the so-called American dream that our ancestors so painstakingly sought. A new life with new opportunities, hence a new identity. I have achieved the American dream that our ancestors sought, but deep in my heart and my soul lie my Hispanic mestizo roots. As I stand tall and proud, because after all, this too is our land, our home, our future. Wonderful. Gracias.
So much. And now we have our poet, our great poet from Laredo, Raquel Valles and Diaz, that has published so many books. And wait, let me read her biography. Oh my goodness, where is it? You should have it. Sorry. Poet, playwright, and artist, Raquel started writing after taking a creative writing course at Laredo Junior College in 1988. Her poetry has been published in the United States, Mexico, and India. Her first collection of poetry, Soy Como Soy y Que, was published in 1996, and it won the International Premio de Literatura José Fuentes Mares in Letras Chicanas, awarded by the Universidad de Ciudad Juárez. Raquel is also the author of 3 plays, and her play, The Marigolds, premiered in Laredo, as well as in San Antonio and McAllen. We are very proud of our premier Laredo poet, Raquel Valle. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm hard of hearing and my ear things aren't working. So if you talk to me, I probably won't hear you. Okay. So
It's okay.
I'm going to read this poem because it's one that people relate to. I've read it a lot of times, so if you've heard it before, bear with me.
It's okay. We love it. We love it. And it's
Growing up in Laredo, Chicana, Pocha, Tex-Mex, Mexican-American, Latina, Hispanic, so many labels. Which one should I use? They're all the same to me. Do you want me to talk over here
yes.
to this thing? Uh-huh.
So everybody can hear you.
Yo nací en el border, en Laredo, as a matter of fact. Había pocos gringos. They were a minority. Hasta la fecha, they still are. Nadie tenía labels, or I was unaware of them. We were all Americans, unos güeros, otros morenos, y crecí talking like this. El get together ya empezó. Los guys ya están llegando. Préstame tu lipstick, el fire and ice, que está bien rojo. Is my crinolina hanging out? ¿Qué va? You look bien padre. Me aprieta mucho el Merry Widow. I think I'll take it off. No, huerca, te hace ver muy sexy. On Sundays íbamos a morning mass. No había en la tarde, mucho menos on Saturday que te valiera for Sunday. A la una would go al centro a ver the latest movie. Al Tivoli o al Rialto, al Plaza o al Royal. Después al City Drug. A flirtear con los huercos, comer french fries con gravy, tomar un cherry coke, pasar allí la tarde. El hangout de los gringos era el Central Drug. We never went there. Discrimination, I suppose, but of our own accord. The guys would whisper the Conchita's place across the river. We were dying to ask about it, but nadie se atrevía. Let's go and eat cabrito con frijoles bien borrachos. There was no such thing as nachos, patos, or burritos. If you asked for a mariachi, you got a band cantando rancheras. En St. Angela's Hall, debajo del Eagle Eye de la Gerarda y la Gabriela, bailábamos cheek to cheek to the tunes of Joni James and Nat King Cole. Echábamos estilo con el clásico danzón y el mambo número 5. Growing up in ese tiempo fue una cosa bien bonita, without having all those labels para complicar más las cosas. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a little bit of technical difficulties, but now we have Mando Lopez, lawyer by profession, but I always call him a poet by heart. He's a true poet. He wrote a poem every day during the pandemic, every day. He is the most prolific writer I know, as far as poets, or maybe writer, I don't know. You write so much and so well, and we're so happy to have you, Mando. And
There we go.
now we have we had technical difficulties. I hope you could hear us, those of you.
Yeah, it was just
Okay. Now we're back, Mando.
Okay, tell me what not to do here, so.
Okay, no,
it's because it disconnected.
she disconnected, but you have to talk to the mic.
Hello? I've been writing for a long time. I started out in the 7th grade as a sports writer for my middle school paper at Kristen, and then I was the editor at Martin High. I wrote for the Daily Texan at UT, and my even though my eventual career was attorney, I was a writer and a journalist, and that's where I got the ability, I think, to write something every day, because we had stories to cover and things like that. And so you'd go cover a game and you had to have a story ready in an hour. And so you learn to use a lot of devices that writers do. So, but I also found poetry as a way to express things and sometimes take a really small thing and then reflect on it. And kind of the poetry is like a diary. It's like a journal. And that's why Rosa Maria tells you about that. So, I'm part of a group called Laredo Border Slam. I'm the oldest one there. Ricky here is one of the youngest ones. And in Laredo Border Slam, you got to write a poem. It's got to be 3 minutes. You get to perform it before complete amateur judges. They rate you. Your feelings better not be hurt. But it's a wonderful experience. We meet every other Thursday
at Cultura Beer Gardens on the second floor. Get up there. There's about 10 to 12 poets that show up every time, and it's a wonderful place to work your craft. And so just to tell you about the experience of writing, once you start writing a lot, you kind of get exposed to all different things. So for example, a few days ago, I was asked, well, a few months ago, I was asked by a poet from San Antonio to write for a book called Así Now We Talk. And it's a book that was dedicated to pues, la mezcla de las idiomas and the concept of vacina and language that used to be kind of a little forbidden. And so I wrote a poem. I submitted about 15 because I have so many that I like. And they picked one called Xerxes, which is about somebody out of town really frustrated with the way that they say that we can't pronounce the sh song, the sh language or sh word. So we talk about a chit of paper and Xerxes fried chicken and stuff like that. And so they picked that one. But there was Carmen Tafoya, Texas poet laureate, writing a poem about Chicana God giving her husband, which is one of the most awesome poems I've ever heard. And so I got to participate with them. And then the other day, Ethel Shipton, a former Laredoan, did a Center for the Arts presentation, a book. She did she's an artist, and she did a compilation at the Laredo Center for the Arts. And it was her reflections of growing up on the border. But it was not just art. It was photographs. It was an actual swing and a seesaw like the ones that they had Parque Viveros across the river and at Lake Casablanca. And so I got, like Gilberto says, I got inspired in a way by when I saw the seesaw, I just had a flash of something I wanted to write about, and that's what my poem is. She picked it up and asked if she could publish it in her book about the display, and so I'm very proud to have it in the book. Dr. Cantu wrote an essay about Ethel that's also in the book, so I'm in there with one of my mentors and one of my idols. So my poem is entitled, and did I leave my? Oh, got my glasses here. I got them here, right? Called Seesaw, just about the seesaw. And I start off with a quote, and sometimes that's a good way to get going. There's this American Indian poet named Sherman Alexie, and he wrote this about being an alcoholic. And the day that he got a notice that his book was being published, he realized that it was time to stop drinking, because if he wanted to continue writing, he needed to be sober and active. And so he says, I don't believe in magic, but I do believe in interpreting coincidence exactly the way you want. And so when that book came in, he had just had a bad bender and he realized he needed to start writing. So with me, you'll hear what the coincidence was. I am driving to the Laredo Center for the Arts. I am on the phone with my brother, Steve. We were born 1 year apart. We have been partners all of our lives. He is the brother who was a witness to our antics. We are yin and yang, individual and autonomous. I lost more foot races to him than I can count. After our call, he is again present in my mind. I walk into the center, my city's home for the arts. I take in the interactive and traditional exhibit. I'm already drawn to one photo, but soon I find the life-size seesaw. And I am jettisoned to Los Dos Laredos in the 60s and 70s. This is the time travel that only art can trigger. I repeat a line from another poem that I wrote. Laredo is not a place, but a state of mind. If I remember anything about seesaws, it is this. My brother was always on the other side of the ride. The prevailing alternating landing. At leverage, my weight, I would strand him up on high. This was true on the other side of the Rio Grande. On lazy Sundays after a lunch at La Única, we made our way to Parque Viveros, where seesaws were the colors of Hoya sodas. Vibrant reds, oranges, yellows, and blues. Pounding into the ruts carved by daily use, sometimes we would gawk at the grease. The lubricant muffled the groan of tired metal. Up and down we went until it was time to share. Little brothers would come on and join the fun. Soon we would be off to the swings and the tricycles. But the seesaw was where we defied gravity. Other times it was trips to Lake Casablanca. We found our way on solitary weekdays, far from the bustle of crowded Saturdays, our crew cut haircuts fanned by lakeside breezes. Our adventures on the seesaw catapulted us. Soon we were running to the water, skimming stones on the shimmering lake, always competing with my brothers. Today, this display takes me back to those times. I now see the metaphor of both sides of the seesaw. The fulcrum in the middle is the river center. But this is one ride, one experience. Ultimately, we are brothers and sisters. With wide-eyed joy, we lived in our own nirvana. These simple rides were blissful adventures. And tonight, I am able to reflect on this oasis that I call home.
I love this poem. There's so many verses that speak. Oh yeah, I'm always.
Thank you.
There's so many verses that speak to me. I also tell my students, write verses that speak to you. For example, Laredo is not a place, but a state of mind. That can be a whole poem for all of you. And he uses so many images and colors and, and verbs that are. So thank you, Mando, for sharing. Now we have our Dr. Patricia Gonzalez here with me, who is keeping time, right? We went a little bit over, but it's okay. Yeah. She has a PhD in social linguistics. She is the expert on languages. She is.
Always learning.
Always learning.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry some of you are leaving. We said 7, but we'll give you time to write in a minute. We'll have,
Thank you.
Patricia, without
Yes.
further ado.
A couple of minutes.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
And she took that poem from Ansaldúa. Yes.
Sí, siguiendo los consejos de Rosa María, el año pasado me tocó asistir junto con todos los slam poets. Yes. Que es obviamente un reto por su juventud, por su energía, su entusiasmo. Y de pronto hablamos obviamente, tenemos que hablar de Ansaldúa y nuestra lengua, que es nuestra identidad. Entonces, como decía Norma Cantú, como nos insiste Rosa María, es una reacción, un homenaje, una idea que se nos ocurre cuando escuchamos un poema. En mi caso es cuando escucho una lección, una canción, un consejo, un chisme, de pronto es ese poema, ¿verdad, Armando? Entonces, deslenguadas, no more. Yes. El guión de la US-Mexican border, que ya no sea una herida abierta. The world has never been a safe place to live. So, algo tenía que cambiar y cambió. Maybe we eat tortillas, but it is a choice. Deslenguadas, no more. Siempre hay encrucijadas. Y si queremos una X, se la ponemos al latino. Latinx. Mujeres empoderadas. Carrying a couple of races on our backs. Maybe more. Ahora somos indias, hispanas, negras, mestizas y mulatas, españolas o tejanas, fronterizas, border crossers, Latinx, con asuntos de cada lado, de este lado y de aquel lado. Hijas, madres, tías, profesoras, comerciantes, escritoras, que ya no estamos en la línea de fuego. Now we know which side to take. We do not run. We negotiate. We stay. Ahora nosotras somos las que disparan y hacemos business con los anglos porque hablamos su lengua, con el mundo porque borramos fronteras. Ya no hay más guión. Construimos un puente. Deslenguadas, no more. Thank you.
And if you've read Ansaldua's poem, you know she was responding to that poem. So it's wonderful, Patricia. Thank you so much. Oh, and Patricia, by the way, she's a CPA. She's a certified public accountant that left her that because she loved literature. So more power to her. Oh, I brought yours. No, para terminar, voy a leer el mío, que se llama Fronteriza, Border Woman. This poem I wrote back in 1997 when I didn't think I could write in English. I was a Spanish teacher, just writing in Spanish. But I went to a workshop and they said, no, you can write in English. And guess what? This poem then was later chosen for National Public Radio to be broadcast nationally. So I'm proud of my Fronteriza, and it speaks about what it means to be a border woman. And it starts like this. I live on the border, on the edge of two cultures. I'm immersed in both. I am Mexican, American. What part of me is Mexican? What part of me is American? Are my genes hyphenated? Are my organs half and half? I sing the songs of Agustin Lara, Julio Iglesias, Broadway plays, Carly Simon, and Old Blue Eyes, I can't be without. I cry when I hear La Zacatecana, my grandmother's favorite patriotic song. America the Beautiful tugs at my heart and fills me with pride. I'm a Mexican during the 16 parade, and I root for Old Glory as the 4th rolls by. I'm a border woman. I'm Mexican and I am American. I can be both at the proper time. I'm a fronteriza and I'm proud. Short minutes because we're a little bit, we're 10 minutes over what we thought. And so how about if we give you less than 10 minutes? Some of you had started in schools, I know. So because slam poets give only 3 minutes, right, Mando? We're going to give you 5 just for time's sake. So, okay. And if it's, you can write a draft out of all the, I hope you're getting ideas. And we already have some people that have signed up to read. So is it okay, Ileana, for 5 minutes? Sí, 5 minutes. Tú estás lista, ¿ves? Así me gusta. ¿Está lista? No, hombre. Okay, 5 minutes starting right now. Don't leave, you guys. You're going to hear great poems. Sí. Thank you. We have 15 people who have signed up. 15 personas van a leer. Bien, empezamos con, sí. Por favor, los que van a leer, si quieren estar acá cerca del micrófono. Empezamos con Sandra Cavazos Ayala. I call her my baby poet because she's been writing after taking my workshops.
Yes, yes. And again, I want to thank Rosa Maria, my poet, I called her. I've been coming to her workshops this is like my 5th one. And I finally got the courage to start writing poetry. So I want to thank her. Thank you so much, Rosa Maria. I really appreciate it. And this poem, I couldn't write it either in English or in Spanish because we live in the border and everything is 2 languages. The 2 languages mixed together, just like we've all been talking about so far. And it also comes from my heart because I really dedicate this to my mother because she instilled in us our Catholic beliefs during Semana Santa. We really followed the tradition because of my mom. So this one is called El Viernes Santo. El Viernes Santo, Holy Friday, the day Jesus died on the cross for us. A somber day filled with love
and tradition for us. El Viernes Santo, Holy Friday. Mi madre begins her day with prayer and preparation for our traditional nopalitos meal. El viernes no se come carne, she reminded us, as we waited anxiously for our traditional meal. Nopalitos con chile ancho, albóndigas de camarón, chiles rellenos de queso fresco y enchiladas rojas de pilón. Pero lo mejor de todo era la capirotada. Con gusto, my sister and I walked across the border to Fruteria González to get all of my mom's order. Nopalitos, chile ancho, queso fresco, canela de palo, and we better not forget el piloncillo. Mi madre prepara la cena con todo su corazón. El Viernes Santo, día de adoración. Y mañana, sábado de gloria, otro día de tradición. Qué bonito.
Thank you so much, my baby poet. Mando, thank you. Mando, you're next. Or do we, or let me have Ricky, and then Javier Botello. Ricky is one of the slam poets. We're very happy. He has his own published works too. Ricky Miguel Martinez. Yes, well, yes.
How y'all doing, everybody? Like Bando was saying, I'm one of the Laredo Border Slam poets that performs there with Bando and our other poetry slam poets. And I officially had 3 years with them today. So it's a pretty cool thing. And the cool thing about it is I also do poetry shows at bars or coffee shops, any place where I perform 1 hour shows. And I've had a lot of first times as a poet. I had a chance to have my first published book, which is called Broken Reflections. I have 5 there, so if any of you want to buy them for $10, just let me know. All right, so I'm gonna just get started because I don't want to take any more time. So I only was able to write 2 lines, but I'm just gonna say what's on my mind. After that, I'm just gonna speak from my heart, and this is called "The Border is Home." We live on the border. This place is home to us, just as much as heaven is home to the angels. You can take us out the border, but you cannot take the border out of us. This place will always be home to us, no matter how far we leave. I know we will always come back here. This is a place where my dad's uncle took over. He owned Glass Kitchen Burgers in town. It is a place on Corpus. It is a place that used to be by Martin High School. It is a place that was voted best burgers in town. This place is home. This place, it's where it has a park called Chaparral Street, where I used to play basketball with friends. Back in the day where I would hear my mom say, "Hey, it's time to finally come home." The place will always have those memories here. This place is home.
Thank you, Ricky. And I want to remind everyone that right now we have the Laredo 20th Annual Poetry Festival, and the theme is the border, to live on the border. And if you want to submit your poems, you still have till February 3rd for the poetry contest. So I encourage all of you to submit. Now we have another student, Javier Botello. Javier. And then we're having Kaylin Martinez and Chloe Chavez, if you want to come near. Javier Botello. Oh, oh. Axiel, perdón. Axiel. Okay.
Did I just start reading? or-
Yes, you just.
Okay. So, hello. Okay. So the name of the poem is called Laredo Spirit. Here from Texas, from the south side, from Laredo, we have so much pride. With amazing traditions coming out, take me the Laredo 956 route. The two borders combine like a brother to brother, but it does not matter because we love one another. We got Los Tecos, which combine us together. LISD and UISD giving us the best education, even with our school pride going through our circulation. We just like having fun at the Mall del Norte and the outlets that we might just not even leave late at night yet. Doesn't matter if we are Hispanics or whites. We know that Taco Palenque keeps us safe. Sure, we might have some problems with the water situation, but as Laredo people, we can easily fix that with our great for Laredo.
Okay.
Gail, what school are you from?
United South.
United South, thank you. Kayleen is also from United South, right, Kayleen? Yes, come on. Alumnas de Miss Chris Soto.
Yes. Hi everyone. I am Katie and I'm from United South. I named my poem The City of Hope. For my family, this is a place of hope. It was a place of hope long ago. And pues from here, I'm gonna move on. So, Laredo, the city of hope. Hope for better lives, better opportunity, better education. Mi hermoso Laredo. Verde, verde como una hoja de una planta. A ti ranchitos de fresh air. Al soplar, vuela la tierra. El río se llena al llorar del cielo. The smell of the carne asadas, the warmness of the sun hitting my skin. Beyond all, a city that is safe. No pew-pew shootings, no fear at being out at night, no tornadoes, no hurricanes. Simply no harm. Just a Laredo with light to guide us to the world of success and comfort, building us to be equal and civil. Dándonos alas, alas para abrir y no tener miedo, no tener miedo al seguir nuestros sueños. Es mi Laredo, mi lugar, lugar de seguridad, esperanza. I will not choose to live in another place. My Laredo, my perfect place.
Ay, qué bonito. So be sure and submit it. Yes. Remember, look at the guidelines and it's due February 3rd.
They can edit it.
They can, yes. Yeah. This is like a first draft or second draft, right? You can edit because we only gave you a short time. I hope you can edit more. Now we have Chloe Chavez and then Allison Martinez and Sara Castillo. Chloe, what school are you from? United South. All right, South. No, you're strong, Christina.
Hi, my name is Chloe Chavez, and
go near the microphone.
Hi, my name is Chloe Chavez, and my poem is titled "My Home in Love, Laredo." Laredo, a home that I have never come to appreciate fully. The vibrant culture, food, and language are all a part of who I am. It is a place where I will always find comfort and safety, even when our community goes through trials and tribulations. Scorching sunny days are a sign of normality that seem to never end, yet the heated weather grows on us, and so does the variety of paletas. Mesquite and dry brush sing and dance endlessly day by day, giving the deer and javelinas a place for rest and shade. Our Rio Grande is a flowing representation of life and unity, separating two different societies but still welcoming anyone with open arms, creating more than just a diverse city that thrives on import-export, but a flourishing city that relies on its history and people. I will never find any other place that makes me feel like I belong. No one can ever truly leave behind or forget where they came from, especially the smell of carne asadas and the loud playing of Tejano music, memories that will last and live in my heart and mind forever.
Thank you. Sara, is it Sara or Sahara? Sahara? Sahara. Okay, Sahara, what school? Are you from United South or Early College? Early College, okay. Miss Elva Graciela Rodriguez. Sahara.
Hello, my name's Sahara, and this is just an experience I have since my family doesn't speak Spanish that often. It's called Something She Would Remember. It was something she would remember. Mija, puedes leer esta cosa de ahí? Trying to read the foreign language she's seen from time to time, her abuela started to read, stopping her from continuing. Her abuela finished. There was a face. It was saying, my granddaughter can't read the same language I speak. Of course, this was true. Her abuela then began to teach her the alphabet, but it was useless if her abuela thought it would be enough, at least when her abuela was forgetting. This wasn't a bad memory. This was something she would keep as motivation to learn more of the culture her family comes from. It was something I would remember.
Thank you. Thank you, Sahara. You're reflecting. Very good reflection. Isabela Mendoza and then Alejandra Cabriales. Isabela, where's Isabela? What school are you coming from, Isabela? Early College, Garcia. Okay. Isabela Mendoza, welcome. Isabela Mendoza, Lisette Mendoza. What's your name? Oh, Allison. Some you didn't read, Allison. Oh, I'm sorry. Sí, sí, ahorita quédate aquí, ahorita sí. Stay. You're on mute, I'll ask. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Isabela Mendoza, and I will be reading the poem More Than. More than an input and output fixation, but where there's no taco moderation. More than how cartels exchange, but where families come to reunite and arrange. More than people crossing the border, but the homelands that make us foreigners. More than the sturdy puente constructed to unite the best of both worlds, but where my heart belongs, yeah, where my appetites allured. Life on the border isn't tragic, as long as you don't mind gunshots being disguised as firework tactics. Home and heritage, Laredo is both, a border region with hope, where the sun never fails to shine and the temperature never declines.
Oh, wow.
More than a mojado trying to get by, but ancestors who left to make more than a dime. More than a river to cross, but the water as deep than a loved one's cause. More than Sunday mornings and Diosito mío, but where we learn to honor our roots with cariño. To live on the border isn't a disadvantage when our God-blessed home is where I stand in. More Than by Isabela Mendoza.
Okay, we will be closing in 30 minutes. We should have been finished by 7:30, so just give me time. We skipped Allison Martinez, and I apologize for skipping Allison Martinez. Are you from United South, Allison? Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry. So, and now we have Allison Martinez. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Good evening. My name is Alison Martinez, and I am from United South. And today I'll present my poem called Laredo. Laredo is a medium-sized town. When you step outside, the smell of carne asada overflows the air, inviting the neighbors along. The loud music till the middle of the night. In Lake Casablanca, one sees family and friends gathering, hears children laughing and playing, sees and hears family talking. grandparents and parents fishing with their grandchildren or children. In the neighborhood, you see neighbors talking, neighbors helping one another, the noise of dogs barking at day and night, the complaints of the neighbors coming in. In the morning, someone hears phones ringing as family calls to come over for a cafecito.
Ay, qué bonito. It's Alejandra Cabriales from United South? Yes. Yes.
Hello, my name is Alejandra Cabriales, and I'm a proud Panther from United South United South High School, sorry. And I'll be presenting my poem called Family. I wake up every morning to the sun in my face, a sun that I always see no matter what weather takes place. The smell of breakfast tacos awakens the olfactory, coming to awake from my sleepy state. Walking down the streets in the boots that I wear. Buenos dias, I hear from my neighbors. As they water the grass or take out the trash. Buenos dias, I always say back. It's Sunday night. You know what that means. Carne asada en casa de la abuela. Tios are outside grilling with a drink in hand while recollecting the memories they all together shared. Laredo's a small town where everyone knows everyone, like having a big family. It's not only by blood, but by the bond we all share.
Lisette Mendive, your turn. Are you a teacher? Yes. Cuidado. Mendive, what are you teaching for?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Lisette Mendive. I'm an English teacher at Hector Garcia Early College High School. And tonight, I love to write poetry like most of you. And como alguien dijo anteriormente en español, como que sabe más por el idioma, but I do write English as well. I follow today's advice from Ms. Dayano and from the poets online is listen to someone, right? And adopt that poem and make it your own. And Mr. Armando Lopez, you inspire me today with the seesaw because I have a childhood experience in el sub y baja when I was at Ryan. I saw lucecitas on the seesaw. En la Ryan estaba yo, chiquita, flaquita, güerita, con un poquito de inglés, pero muchas ganas. Beautiful sunny morning like many others at the playground. Recess time before the first bell to start the school day. Una chonchita invited me to hop on the seesaw, el sub y baja. Ha, what? How sweet, I thought, a new friend. Y sube y baja. Mi trenza de cola de ratón dancing with the wind. Up I went and smiled at the clouds. Down I came and landed mis tenis on the dirt. De repente, my thought, new friend, blasted off from the ground as the chicharra went off. Y tas! From the clouds down I came. Mi corazón hizo tiqui, 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 tiqui. Y vi las lucecitas en el seesaw. Thank you.
Garza and Valentina Moreno Cruz after that. Mia Arguello Garza and Mia and Valentina and then Antonio. We're calling Mia. We were calling the students first. And then we will call the adults.
Mia.
Mia. ¿De qué escuela? What school are you?
Alexander.
Alexander, all right. Woo.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Mía Arguello, vengo de Alexander High School y voy a leer, y mi poema es Frontera de mis recuerdos. Lugar de sueños, de amor y esperanza, sus lenguajes infinitos, donde un reto es un lenguaje único, con recuerdos escritos. Te tengo tan cerca que tengo miedo de callar, veo rigo y lágrimas se van. Mas los puentes ríen de alegría al verlos llenos todos los días, como si fueran una dulcería. Sale el sol con una sonrisa, iluminando mi vista, dándome prisa para cambiar mi divisa. Gracias.
Ya teníamos ganas de escuchar español. Continúa, Valentina.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Valentina Moreno Cruz y mi poema se llama Digo yo.
Es de Alexander también.
Ah, sí.
Viva Alexander.
Los poetas de un paraíso sin fin, de una ciudad donde el águila del sur y el águila del norte, entre vientos de inglés y español, llegan a un tope, donde el amor crece y el enlace, el espíritu mexicoamericano que no dejó que pase. Una fuerza de guerrero y un corazón de hierro, solo hace que no tenga miedo. Digo yo que los poetas están en lo correcto, al decir que los dos Laredos es así mero.
Ok. ¿Usted? Antonio López, sigue usted. Y después José Villegas. Where's José Villegas? José, vente por acá, José. Come on down. Primero. And then we'll have Ileana and Sylvia and then Man. Pase. Buenas tardes.
Gracias, señora Rosa María.
Sí.
Sí, cómo no.
Díganos un poquito de usted.
Sí, buenas tardes a todos ustedes, a todos compañeros, hermanos del mismo resorte, que es la composición. Sabemos que no es difícil, pero bueno, aquí estamos. Doblemente hermanos porque llevamos la misma sangre y aparte somos hermanos del arte, que es la composición. Gracias a la señora Rosa María, de parte de mi señora y mío. Estamos nosotros en un taller de arte y literatura allá en Nuevo Laredo. Y bueno, pues allá es un poquito, pues es muy parecido a esto. En fin, yo no le he escrito, por desgracia, todavía aquí en específico a la frontera. Escribí hace tiempo un poemita a Nuevo Laredo con motivo de su aniversario. Y le puse por nombre Laredo Tamaulipeco. Antes de leerlo, quisiera felicitar a todos los jóvenes que están iniciándose en el arte de la literatura. Muchas felicidades a todos los jóvenes. Este poema dice: el alma de la patria se siente en el cobijo que esta ciudad frontera enciende en cada hijo. Nuevo Laredo, a más de siglo y medio de tu fundación, te admiro y te respeto con mística emoción. El trazo de tu suerte diseñó tu destino, y el buen trazo en el rumbo se mide por la gloria que ha plasmado en el tiempo tu magnífica historia. Siempre estás con la patria y firme en tu camino. La razón inconfundible de ese carácter tuyo, fronteriza raigambre de los cuatro elementos, destino promisorio, cual rosa de los vientos, siempre lo ha de ofrecer con fronterizo orgullo. La iglesia Santo Niño con su fiel campanario, con sus bronces festeja feliz tu aniversario. Y el pueblo jubiloso con justo y noble fallo disfruta de la plaza del 1 de mayo. Cierto, algunos descastados con grosera osadía agreden la nobleza de la ciudadanía. Son siniestros enanos, pústulas de la historia, que al fin han de pasar sin recuerdo ni gloria. El origen heroico de este Nuevo Laredo, que aquellos fundadores levantaron ufanos, con amor el gran Dios nos grabó con el dedo en el frente el orgullo de seguir mexicanos. Fronteriza ciudad, ventana de la patria mía, por donde se avisora tu gran policromía, aduanera ciudad de estampa fina, se asegura ser la más principal de América Latina. Cierto, Sufrimos el tórrido calor que hace en verano, pero en cambio gozamos del calor humano de la gente oriunda de esta tierra, que a su franqueza y sencillez se aferra. La cálida costumbre mexicana de ser hospitalario sin medida se vive en mi ciudad toda la vida, como en Laredo, Texas, la ciudad hermana. Y si no fuera por la gente abyecta que lastima y que destruye hogares, Nuevo Laredo, de todos estos lares, lucía como ciudad perfecta. Tamaulipeco y robusto tronco humano, que la postura en su vivir dimana, nobleza y dignidad van de la mano con la sutil esencia mexicana. Así es Nuevo Laredo, su heroica trayectoria que sigue cultivando sin medida, con esfuerzo tenaz toda la vida, la imagen sacrosanta de su historia. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señor. Nos hacía falta el español. Me encanta, me encanta. Necesitamos ese lado. Yo invité a Marco Franco y a Marcos Leija, pero ninguno vinieron. Ya nos están corriendo. Bueno, pues tenemos 2 alumnos y después como 3 adultos. Nos quedamos hasta las 8. No nos van a correr. No. Ay, Dios mío, pero el micrófono se enojó. El micrófono se enojó algo.
Que se pongan el micrófono porque no los oyen.
No los oyen. Ahí está. Cuando van a decir su poesía, ponte al micrófono. Pásale. Tú eres José Villegas, ¿verdad?
Yes, ma'am.
¿De qué
Hello.
escuela? What school?
United South.
Okay, United South.
Hi, my name is Jose Villegas, and I am from United South. And my poem is called Laredo. Laredo, home of the Namreser kids, and where houses smell like fabuloso soap. Laredo, where kids make money by helping their dads at the construction site. Laredo, where someone is always hosting a carne asada. Laredo, where we all praise the Cowboys, where the fans love to make noise. Laredo, where half of the people get their clothes from the outlets and many might be in debt. Laredo, where many of the men share the same name.
Liliana.
No, we have one more student.
Oh, one more student. What's your name? Ramiro Medellín, perdón.
And then Chris.
Sí, sí. From United South.
Hello, my name is Ramiro Medellin. I am from United South, and my poem is called A Little Taste of Laredo.
Get near to the microphone.
Laredo, oh Laredo, how your parties are wonderful and loud, how tias and tios argue and sing drunkenly, and how dogs bark all night long. Laredo, oh Laredo, how there are teens driving in the night, showing off their cars and engines, blasting through the night. Laredo, oh Laredo, how Chisme flies around because there is never anything to ever do in this town. Laredo, oh Laredo, how it barely rains, and when it does, it brings the worst weather it's ever laid. Thank you.
Thank you. Liliana. Nojosa, administrator, bilingual, in the bilingual program in Laredo Independent School District.
Yes, ma'am.
And a graduate of Cigarroa High School.
Go
Yes.
Toros. Bye, bye, bye.
Yes.
Estoy muy alta, no me veo. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ileana Molina y yo escribí en español porque
Qué bueno, qué bueno.
es mi idioma, ¿verdad? Vivir en la frontera.
Mi alumna, sí.
Vivir en la frontera es amar 2 banderas, es vivir sin barreras y disfrutar de 1001 maneras. En la frontera es donde encontré mi razón de ser. Aquí en un lado tengo mi pasado, mis raíces, y en este otro lado construyo mi futuro con orgullo y placer. Vivir en la frontera no es una experiencia cualquiera. Aquí convives con personas de gran fuerza y corazón. Aquí simplemente se vive de una diferente manera.
Solo en la frontera se tiene lo mejor de dos culturas. Eres mexicana unos días de la semana y americana los que les queda. Y está en proceso.
Tenemos dos maestras, Silvia Vargas y Chris Soto, y después Armando. Y ya terminamos. Véngase, Silvia Vargas y Chris Soto. Pasen, vénganse ya, pues. Silvia Vargas, maestra de español de Alexander. A ver,
She wanted it. She asked.
Okay. A ver si no está muy grande.
Ahí está. No, para que la miren. Ahí está.
¡Arriba los Bulldogs! Muy buenas tardes a todos. Le agradezco a Rosa de Llano que nos permite estar aquí, a todos nosotros, y pues en especial a mis estudiantes de este semestre que decidieron venir a acompañarme en esta ocasión. Yo escribí un poema en español en esta ocasión que se llama, y perdón, lo puse en inglés, pero lo quiero en español. Mis Laredos. En ambos lados de mis dos Laredos, crecí viendo parvadas de gente, de aquellos únicos dos puentes internacionales de impactos económicos desorbitados, con inmensas filas de sur a norte y viceversa, de coches, de trailers y de autobuses, accidentes vehiculares en un vaivén de corajes. Por el lado mexicano, inundaban las primeras cuadras los gringos turistas, caminando por la banqueta del Gran Maclovio Herrera, pasando por la exclusiva Martí. Algunos descamisados, otros alcoholizados, otros felices portando con actitud sombreros, charros de panalista con lentejuelas brillantes, deslumbrando las dos aceras por los rayos del sol resplandecientes. Y otros se divertían por la Guerrero, en calandrias con elegancia, paseándose con fina gallardía en abundancia. Por el lado americano, cerca del Puente 2, abundaban desde entonces las casas de cambio, mientras que los compradores mexicanos por el Puente 1, en la Convento, cual desfiles de pueblos se surtían de cremas, de perfumes y de lociones. Otros compraban tenis, telas y jeans que metían recuerdo en grandes bolsones. No era todo miel sobre hojuelas. Con frecuencia veía la miseria humana. Un éxodo de emigrantes con caras cabizbajas, arropados con frustraciones, tristezas y desalientos, de regreso a México, con paso aletargado, sin haber cumplido el anhelado sueño americano, viendo al Río Grande, muy bravo, sin duda, irónicamente lejano, mostrando a los fronterizos un pecado internacional descontrolado. ¿Cómo olvidar de mi fiel memoria las catástrofes de las continuas devaluaciones, causando estragos cruentos ambos Laredos? Veía la desolación por la Convento, cuadras vacías con penas amargas, y los rostros de mis padres angustiados, llenos de desesperación y de congojas por la disparidad aterradora de la moneda de cambio, cual bella flor cuyos pétalos tristemente se deshojan. En mi década próxima a los 60 años, he visto la metamorfosis de mis tierras fronterizas, sus muchas gestiones aduaneras burocráticas, con contratiempos en Nuevo Laredo y las Happy Meals de los McDonald's en Laredo en cualquier momento. Y ahora, con 4 puentes que desahogan miedos. Los comercios, baluartes vacíos, permanecen como fantasmas quedos, y muchas casas mexicanas quedaron tristes y desoladas, como la mía misma, con sus forjas de mi infancia, sin muchedumbres, sin epopeyas y en franco silencio. Como leal fronteriza, me consta, ha habido de todos mis dos Laredos, llantos y alegrías, heladas y sequías, riqueza y pobreza,
incendios, inundaciones, pesos y dólares, el moderno Tex-Mex, como el español y el inglés. Hay heridas profundas y francas, cicatrices que han dejado remembranzas inolvidables, nostalgias ermitañas irrenunciables. En mis dos Laredos, totalmente irreemplazables. Muchas gracias.
Muy bien. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, Chris Soto. Y después Armando López. Sí, Chris Soto. All right.
Okay, so before I begin, I'd like to say something. I am honored tonight. One, my former Spanish teacher. Two, my former high school English teacher. Three, Dr. Norma Elia Cantu was my college professor who I started writing this poem with. And then four, Miss Dr. Alma. She was also my college professor. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And then to be in your presence. So here I go. So this poem is entitled Mi Laredo. Bridges, borders, dancing, laughing, pachangas. The sweet grape-like smell of mountain laurel, jazmín, and huizache blending with the distinct Laredo aroma of carne asada. You know you reach Laredo porque huele la carnita y las tripitas. Pásame una tortilla, compadre, con un poco de guacamole. Oh, the sweet smell of mesquite seeds, sucking on them, on the gummy seeds and spitting them to the zacate in hopes of having a new tree someday. Los insontles, los guaraches, los matlachines, la música y el ardor. Baila, baila, baila. Bailen todos con los callos a toda mo. Tejano music y el country une a toda la ciudad porque somos de Laredo y somos country y tejano proud. Ay, mi Laredo, I know I belong here. Yes, I do. If I go away, you attract me like a magnet. I come back to mi Laredo. This is my country and mi familia is here. That's why I say I am Laredo proud. El único lugar donde los mariachis en el estómago tocan. Ay, qué ricos. Yacotulas, todos van. La salsita verde y roja, pica, pica el chilito tan sabroso. Tacapalenque, Danny's y el McDonald's. ¿A dónde iremos a comer? Al Stars, al Dairy Queen, a Flauta King, al Glass Kitchen, Sal's Pizza, Shakey's Pizza, Whataburger o el panecito de Quickie, La Reinera o Holloway's Bakery. ¿A dónde iremos a comer? Y esas culturas y tradiciones de mi amoroso Laredo. Miércoles de ceniza, ya viene la cuaresma. Nopalitos, capirotada, enchiladas, albóndigas y la abstinencia. La Pascua, los cascarones y el Easter Bunny. Al ranchito todos van. Iremos a la Lake Casablanca para la fiesta y para regocijar. Los poreis, el cake y las velitas. Dale, dale, dale.
No pierdas el tino.
Porque pierdes el camino. Y ¡zas! A shower of candy, tissue paper and carrizo. My birthday cake piñata shatters all over the lawn. ¡Córrele! ¡Get the candy! Luego a la cocina. Los polvorones, hojarascas y buñuelos, el pozole y el menudo y tamales deliciosos. La comida nos avisa que ya viene la Navidad, con las posadas, villancicos y el pesebre. Ya viene el niñito a un mundo para salvar. Ay, que mi Laredo, qué de tanto para celebrar. Los chistes de Pepito, Telemundo, las novelas. Ay, este mundo tan querido. La tierra, mi ranchito, el solazo, el trail ride y Life Downs. ¿Dónde más encuentras todo? Solamente aquí en Laredo. Te vas y sigues queriendo regresar a este mundo del solazo, los sunglasses y las monster trucks. El Plaza, el Playmore, Gambit, Silvercoin y Don Chema. Copyright. Ooh, I like Dr. Ikes. ¿Dónde más? Más que en Laredo. El season del George Washington, el jambuzzi, el carnaval, el taste de los dos Laredos y el jalapeño, los vestuarios de las Martas, las Pocahontas, los indios y los caballos, hay que ver. En par para el desfile pasarán por la San Bernardo para conocer. Border Olympics, Alicia, Border Fest. Vamos, escuelas, a participar. La Nixon y la Martin, los rivales más queridos, la banda del ánimo y la $1 Million Sound. Olé a la Cigarroy. Hook 'em horns con United. Charge con San Agustín. Vivan los Panthers. You're in the house. Vamos Bulldogs. You're in the house. Del Alexander. Y yay LBJ. You're in the house. Cheer on. Todos competidores, pero todos Laredo proud. And when we graduate, vamos a LC a TAMU para mejorar la educación. Porque sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. Pues Laredo tiene pasatiempos memorables. A la lotería hay que jugar. La sirena, el apache, el soldado y buenas con la chalupa. A contar los pennies y el sábado a la lake iremos a disfrutar la carnita deliciosa, el centro y las placitas, Jarvis, San Pedro y San Agustín. El metro en el solazo espera a los comadres, con chismes o sin chismes. Media hora, una hora. En Laredo el tiempo pasa como miel en un frasco. El plaza, los boys clubs y las iglesias, la catedral. Mi querido Laredo, yo suspiro tu polvo que cubre mi boca y cuerpo. Voto, voto por, y no hablo de la política. No olvidemos nuestros juegos de la niñez, las Barbies, las paper dolls, las canicas, los trompos, las yoncas, Spirograph, el Atari, con Pac-Man y Pong, Dodgeball, Dodgeball, and tag, you're it. 8 minutes, 5 minutes. A la víbora, víbora de la mar. Por aquí pueden pasar. ¡Córrele! ¡Se va a pasar el raspero! Pues vamos cruising al Samber y a la Malinche. Vamos al mall, al H-E-B, al cine y a Walmart. Vamos a Mundens, a Foodland, al Perry's, al Del Rio Family Center. Pues ¿dónde más podemos ir? And who can forget those Cadillo wars and Mesquite wars in the barrio? Ay, qué barrios tan más queridos en estas calles de mi buen Laredo. El Azteca, el Salsipuedes, la Ladriera, el Cuatro, el Cantarranas, el Aguada, el Delmor, las Minas, Plantation, el Chacón, el Three Points, el Santo Baby, los Ranchitos y el South de Laredo. ¿Qué nombres tan más queridos? En estos barrios de Laredo, solo sé que aquí me quedo. Me preguntan, why are you here? Solo sé que aquí me quedo porque aquí me siento right at home.
Ay, qué bonita. Thank you. And as you can see, some were written before. I think they're not going to close yet. So we have Mando. Where's Roxanne? Where's my Roxanne? Se nos abandonó. ¿Dónde está Roxanne?
I'm a slam poet, so we get that.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a work in progress. It's called Poesía Fronteriza. La frontera es una poesía. Poetry oozes out of every pore of the border. Imágenes brotan de este oasis, not confined to any one variation of a language. Similes flow like the waters of the Rio Bravo, pero todo es como el sol, caliente y ardiente, picoso como un reportaje de la gordiloca, like a Mexican salad con mucho chile tomate. Aquí nació la onomatopoeia, with sounds that echo in the memory of daily life, sonidos como ufas, quesuras, y el más famoso, el just kidding de la frontera, el ah. Aquí nació la alliteration, taco madre, tacotote, taco chino, tacolare, asina, ala, ajúa, ándale, a que no, hambre, naranjas, nada, no manches. No me crees. Aquí se celebra el verso con comida. Go to any restaurant, comenzando con los chips con salsa. There's a symphony of languages, gente platicando en inglés y español, mezclando los idiomas, un taco cacheteado, por favor. Por puro pinche personification. El calor se burla de uno. Las ranas cantan en la noche. The carnival baptizes la vida en la frontera. We bask in the gift of imagery. Las manos de mi abuela. Steam rising from the comal. El caldo boiling, the healing elixir. Las sodas son como joyas de todos colores. Red Fanta, Orange Crush, Big Red, aguas de melón, sandía, limón y piña. Helados y raspas como el rainbow. Bailando como un trompo, cumbiando con Juan y Juana la Tejana, guapangueando in the circle of life, chancleando con chon chon. Life on the border. Every day is a poem. Calaveras in the autumn, versos del universo, haikus del Aitu. Traditional y todo groovy, albur y choteo y finger snapping, slam poetry en dos idiomas con sus raíces en declamación. I dare you not to find God in a mirage. I know that you find fun in the sun in a pun. Yo sé que estoy afuera, pero la no poesía conmigo no se muera. La frontera es poesía.
Yes. So thank you very much, and I hope we're not. No, I still we're not. We're not here for the night. No, thank you so much. We overstayed our welcome at the library. Thank you so much, those of you that accompanied me tonight from other cities. I thank you, Gilberto, Norma, Octavio, and thank you all for coming tonight. Good night. Thank you. Buenas noches. Bye-bye. Thank you so